Hello, today on the workbench we have a unboxing. I just got this in the mail yesterday. I have been extremely excited about getting this radio. Of course, by the label on the video you already know what it is. It is a Dick Smith K-6308 from 1984. And some of you might not be familiar with Dick Smith Electronics. Dick Smith Electronics is an Australian-based retailer. For those of us here in the United States and to boot, you could think of Dick Smith as a Radio Shack or a Heath kit. They sold kit-based projects, assembled or disassembled. You put them together yourself. You could ship them to the company for a small fee. They'll assemble your kit for you. They'll check it out for you, just like Heathkit did. They sold electronic parts and gizmos, etc., just like Radio Shack did.
I'm Dick Smith. Most Australians would know me because I own Dick Smith Electronics. But to people overseas, I won the lottery of life. I was born in Australia in the 1940s, so I've never had to go to war. And this is a great country for basically any type of adventure. And my greatest adventure was opening a little electronics company called Dick Smith Electronics. I had $610. I was about 1968. I was 24 years of age. And I started a company originally fixing two-way radios because I was a ham radio operator, my only qualification. And one day I went into George Street in Sydney, I live in Sydney, and I went to buy some components to fix the two-way radios. And the service was so bad, I thought, oh, maybe I could start off in selling components. That's what I did. And about 15 years later, I sold the business for over $20 million. And I was still only 36 or 37 years of age. But that's where I was. I'm well known in Australia because of Dick Smith Electronics.
I generally don't like unboxings. I stay away from unboxing videos. I don't think most people could do them correctly. That's not to say that I could do them correctly, because I can't. I'm sure I'm going to suck at it. However, since I got the box in yesterday, I figured, well, let's go ahead and unbox it, because generally what happens, I get way too excited and I can't help myself. I want to plug the radio in and start playing with it, and next thing you know, sometimes I fix it, sometimes I don't. This radio does seem to work according to the seller that I bought it from. He said that he bought it in the 90s, primarily used with his packet radio, and he says it's been sitting in his closet since about the early 2000s. He said he did a quick test to see if it does work, and he says that it does, but there's some noise, might be some calibration or repair issues. It says that he didn't have an antenna connected to it, so that could be an issue. So this is just going to be a first look at the radio. If we could fix it during this time, if it's just dirty controls, great. If not, it's going to be a first look, and then we'll pick it up in a futuristic video. So with all that said and done, let's go ahead and open this up. I guess I could have opened it up from that end as well, so I guess it really didn't make sense for me to spin it around. So put it up on blocks so I could, I don't know why, just thought I needed to do that. Seems like the tape is better than the box. Now this radio also comes with some extra pieces, microphone, an extra mic cable, even a manual, which is readily available offline. Unfortunately, it does not have the original microphone, but at least it has something. I'm sure I have something in my collection of microphones that would probably work. This is what I have as well. It's what's found on the internet. Now, some of you may or may not have heard of Dick Smith, as I stated. I'm very familiar with Dick Smith. I got a couple other products from Dick Smith, and you know, they're not high-end product by any means. Again, they're kind of a Radio Shack-ish kind of stuff. But hey, it gets the job done and it works. And that's all that matters. Wow. This thing is very, very light. I'm very surprised at how light it is. Now, the seller did include pictures in the auction, but we will go ahead and probably open it up so you could look just the same. Alright, so right away we don't have that plug, so we will have to get some crockegators and power it up that way. Alright, so we have a extra mic cable with a 4-pin mic plug on it, a Carroll brand microphone made in Taiwan. It's also a 4-pin. Cable's in good condition, just needs a good cleaning. And then we got a plug here that he used to kill the internal speaker, so he could use it with his TNC. Give me a moment. Let me reconfigure myself, and we'll get this going. Got the bench cleaned up a little bit, and so let's go ahead and move forward. So what we have, you see we got the Dick Smith emblem. So this is a Dick Smith Commander. We have the on-off volume. We have the squash. We have our simplex, our offset, plus or minus 600. So it's a 3-position toggle switch. We have a CB antenna, CB meter. For those of you in CB's forever and a day, you'll recognize that meter. For our channel changer, we just simply got these push buttons up and down. And I was reading through the manual while I was waiting for this to come in. Apparently these controls are individual, and you just snap them together, solder them together, and there you go. Really, really cheesy, but I guess it works. We have a switch here that goes from normal to 5kc offset. And then our 4-pin microphone, and I have no idea what an anti-repeater is, but that's what that button's all about. And here's a little tighter shot of the radio so you can see it a little better. For those of you that are not into ham radio, on 2 meters we have a 600 kilohertz offset, so when you go to transmit, you have the option of transmitting on frequency, or plus 600 or a minus 600, and repeaters generally will work on one of the plus or the minus offsets. If you're going to talk simplex radio to radio without a repeater, then you just put it here, and then it's whatever the frequency is you have set here is what you're doing. This switch here, what this does is, as you see here, if you went to simplex frequency of 146,430, alright, so that works out pretty good. 146,430. Let's finish that out. 4. Alright, so that works out pretty good, but let's say you want to go to 146,435. Well, as you see, you got no buttons there to go to 5. So you take this switch and you flick it, and now it shifts you to plus 5. So then you'd be on 146.435. That's how that works. On the side here, we have provisions for our mobile mounting bracket. And I thought that maybe that would slide, but that don't. If you have a mobile mounting bracket for this, or you know where one could be had, by all means chime in and let me know. I would like to get everything for it I plausibly can. On the back here we have one of these power cables. I don't have one. If you know what this one's called, let me know. I want to order one. I'm not a big fan into cutting wires and adapting. You know, I want to try to leave it as factory as plausible. And we can see it's 13.8 volts. There's our badge. And then we got external speaker, heat sink, and then the SO239 for the antenna. And the top, I thought that might have been some kind of button, but it's just kind of some kind of mold thing. And then the bottom looks just like it, with feet. Now we will open this up and we will look at it. Before doing that, let's go ahead and see how it works, if it works. The pictures online, he didn't show any of it powered on, so it's going to be new to me. So right away, controls feel good. Probably, you know, cleaning of some sort. Let's go ahead and grab our power. Alright, I got the power plugged in to the power supply. Let's go ahead and hook it up to the cable. And so all we're going to do is we got these crocodilators on here. We want to go to negative, and then to positive. I do have my spectrum analyzer fired up in the background. As you can see, I've got two signal generators going, and I also have two frequency counters going, warming up. Not sure what I was going to need, but I figured, hey, we'd get our bases covered. So at this moment, I have no antenna connected to it. Let's go ahead and power it on, and let's see what happens. Squelch all the way down, so we should hear squelch noise. We're going to see if the internal speaker works, and here we go. So right off the bat, we know it's got a good amplifier, good speaker. I think it was a 2-watt amplifier on the sound. I'd have to double check. Like I said, your typical CB speaker, or I don't know why I keep calling speaker, your meter, which is good because if you ever need to replace it, you just grab pretty much any Cobra or Realistic and rip its meter out. It's also telling us that our volume control is dirty, and it's also telling us we don't need a microphone in order to receive. So squelch tell sounds good. Okay, that's pretty good, pretty good. So I guess now next thing we want to do is we want to see if this thing's going to transmit. And what is the power? Now, one thing about this radio, it's kind of interesting. Most of your vintage rigs like this on low power, matter of fact, where is the this is supposed to have a high power, low power, and I don't see that switch. So I guess I'm going to have to assault the manual. It said that it does 10 watts on high, 10 watts on low, 15 on high. And that's just a momentary button. So I will not bore you, but I will thumb through the manual and see if I could better understand how the power output function on this works. What I was going to say was generally you get 1 watt on low and 10 watts, 12 watts on high, but the specs on it said that it was 10 low, 15 high. So yeah, I'll have to research and see how the high-low feature works. And another nice thing about this radio is it does cover the full 2-meter spectrum. So it goes from 140 all the way up to 148.99999. So that is really nice. Some of them, and I do have one that I really like. We'll look at it in another video. That, or we may have already looked at it in another video. I don't know how I'm doing the videos at the moment, but it don't do the 5 off, and it only goes to 146 through 148. Anyway, so let's go ahead and hook this up to a meter. We will hook it up to this power meter, and this dummy load. Overkill, yes, I know. We got the antenna, which is the dummy load, and if you've never hooked one of these up, it's almost, you know, no-brainer here. You hook it up to the antenna. If you're not going to use a dummy load, then by all means hook it up to the antenna. And then we need to hook the radio up next. I'm doing this backwards. Well, I guess it really doesn't matter how you do it, just as long as you do it right. So we got that plugged into our SO239 or our antenna out connection on the back of the radio. Next we go into the transmitter side of the meter. Power supply. You want to make sure you have the adequate power supply to handle this. With this only being about 10 watts, pretty much any CB, any regulated CB power supply will handle this. So if you got about 4 or 5 amp power supply, you're going to be just ducky. And then we plug in our microphone. And if you've never plugged in a microphone before, they are keyed. And you can see that little slot right there. There you have a better look at it, little slot right there. And that corresponds to the radio. We'll have a slot in it somewhere, and you plug it in. And you don't have to tighten the strain release if you don't want. It's just habit for me. Keep getting our arm in the way. Alright, hopefully we got proper amount of reflection of the light in there. Alright, so we want to put this on 15 watts, which it is, low power, and then we want to put this on power. We're in a dummy load. We don't need to worry about our SWRs. They should be just ducky. The radio's in simplex mode. Now what we want to do is we want to take our microphone and mash down on the PTT. This is the PTT. It's your microphone button. PTT stands for push to transmit. Okay? And that's what you're doing. So let's go ahead and mash our button and let's see it fire up. Okay, so we got meter movement up there and we got meter movement down here. Again, we're on the 10 watt scale, and according to this meter we're doing about 8 watts, and that's fine and ducky. I'm fat and happy with that. Alright, so none of those influences our power out. I'm not sure how we get the high-low. I guess not unless it's something internal you set. I don't know. So I wish that I had my communications monitor in line. We could really test this out all on one machine, but we don't. I don't. So we'll do in multiples. Next thing we're going to try doing is we're going to see if there's enough RF energy coming out of the cables and the dummy load to go into our spectrum analyzer to see if indeed we do get a signal. So what I want to do is I want to put this, even though we're in a dummy load, I don't need to, but I put it on a simplex frequency of 146.430, and that's what we're going to put this on. And then we're going to set up our marker. Alright, so where that marker is, when I transmit, we should see a signal. Let me bump you in. Alright, this might be a little challenging because the radio is either in focus or the meter's in focus. Either or. Now I'm also going to hook up this frequency counter. I don't know if it's going to be sensitive enough to pick up our frequency that we're transmitting on. But let's find out. Okay, so we do have a signal, but we don't have anything on the frequency counter. Let's make adjustments to this so we can see that bigger. Perfect. So we do have a signal. Remember, this radio is not connected to any of this. We're all air gapped. So it's picking up a signal through the coax or the dummy load. So it's working. Audio. Frequency counter, let me program that real quick. Let me check its programming. Alright, so I just set up the frequency counter. It was not set up for this high frequency. Let's try it again. Close, but no cigar. There's not enough signal going into the frequency counter. Let me take this coax and see about getting it all in the way. All right, let's see this. Nope. Stand by. Alright, so what we're going to do to get the frequency counter to read is we're going to connect it in line. And for that, we're going to use a RF sampler. Never, ever, ever plug your radios directly into your machinery. You can and will blow it up, which is not fun. So how are we going to do that? Well, we'll take the output of this, oops, alright, so sorry, I'm plugging from the wrong end. We'll take it out from the radio. Run it into here. And on this, it doesn't matter. And how these work, if you're unfamiliar with these, this is basically just got a straight through thick copper wire going from SO239 to SO239. And then our tap is not physically connected to that connection up here. It's actually going around it. So it's grabbing the RF energy and then filtering it down, choking it, and filtering it into there. And that's how we are getting our signal. And then so I'll take that. So we'll get a little bit more RF energy into our frequency counter. Okay. And since we already know what our power is, let's go ahead and just take this out of line. We know it's about 10 watts. Otherwise, I'd have to get up and get more coax and piece this all together. However, hopefully we should still have enough RF energy going into our spectrum analyzer. So let's see what happens now. Yep. Alright, so frequency counter saying we're a little off. What does the spectrum analyzer say? Apologize for all the stuff in your way. So let's center our it's saying 146, 430. Let me change my span. And as you see, 146.423, same as that. So we are a little low on the radio in frequency. About 7 kilohertz. Audio. What do we do if we want to hear what we sound like? Well, with my spectrum analyzer, I do have the option of doing just that, listening. So let me set this up, or you can just simply grab yourself another receiver, which actually, let me turn on my side radio. Set this up so we can monitor from here instead of monkeying around with that. Test 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2 1 2. Audio. I got no audio. Testing 1 2 1 2. Audio. 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 I got no audio. Oh, wait, there we go. Testing 1 2. Okay. Audio. Not sure what I did. There might be a loose connection in the mic, but now I've got audio. 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 There we go. Audio. Audio. Test. 1 2 test. Test 1. Audio. 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 Testing 1 2 1 2. Audio. Hello. Test 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Audio. Audio. Could just be that it's not been used in a while. It needs to warm up. Break in. Test 1 2 1 2. Alright, so that's good. It works. And this radio does not have an antenna on it. Got the antenna right here. Alright, so it appears to work. Let's see here. What about our So 146430, and then we're going to do a 600 kilohertz minus, and then a plus. So it does work. Alrighty. Alright, so our center frequency, shift by 600. Oops, you can't see that because my hand's in the way. Okay, our center frequency and our minus frequency and our plus frequency. So we can see that our plus and minus 600 is working. And we are off frequency. Okay, so now we want to look at the plus 5. Alright, let's set this up so we can actually see it. There we go. It's ever so slight in the monitor. There we go. That's better. It's working. Alright, very good. So, I guess we hook it up to an antenna. We'll also try hooking it up to signal generator to see how far off the receive is, but I'm curious now to see about the real world. So let me undo the dummy load network. Plug in a external outside antenna. Now keep in mind, this will not work on modern day repeaters. Modern day repeaters require PL tones. This does not support a PL tone. So it will not work. But let's see if we could dial one in. Which, you know, is a pain in the butt if you're trying to find active repeaters. Alright, so it is transmitting. There's no repeater. Nobody talking on the repeater right now. Alright, so I just grabbed radio. Let me punch in that repeater frequency. Transmit simplex. Well, simplex is working. Set up the PL tone for that repeater. Let me set my power to high because that's a ways away from me. And let's go ahead and see what happens. Turn the volume on this down because we want to hear this radio. Hey, just might. All right, that worked. All right, so I'm having a hard time chunking that repeater. See if I can find another one that's talking. Stand by. Well, unfortunately, at the moment, nobody is talking. So it'd be a little cumbersome to scan the bands looking for activity. Alright, so we're going to try to chunk another repeater.
The time is 15:48. This is the K-6308 East Repeater System. Good afternoon.
No, that's coming in pretty good. I think we're off frequency on the receive as well. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is let's hook it up to a signal generator and let's see how far off frequency it is. I'm going to unplug the microphone because I don't want to accidentally transmit again into my signal generator. That gets costly after a while. Alright, so here's the setup. We got the radio, signal generator, and spectrum analyzer. Spectrum analyzer is proofing that we are transmitting at 146.430. And as you can see, indeed, we are at 146.430. So we know our signal generator is right on frequency. So then we need to take our signal source from sometimes too many wires. We take our signal source from the signal generator, route it back into our radio, and we're going into the antenna jack. Again, microphone off so we don't accidentally key up. Our volume is up. Let's turn the squelch down. And we are simplex and we are normal. So it should be 146. Oh, 430. There we go. Alright, so we can see a little signal there. Let me put some audio. We'll do a 400 tone hertz. Now, we're going to take our dial here and we're going to adjust the frequency until we can find where our signal is off. So we're starting off at 430. And now I'm going to change it to do a finer grain search. Oh, you know what? I'm a dork. I've got it set up into AM modulation and not FM. So of course, we're going to have not good clean audio. So let me reset this back to 146.430 megahertz. And we'll put this on medium. And we'll go back and try this all over again. And to ensure that I've got this on FM, let's change it to FM. There we go. Alright, we all can agree that's FM. Let's look back at our meter. And here you can see where I've got the sensitivity on the signal generator, how much of a signal is going into the radio. And here the meter is fully pegged. And that's 1,000. I don't know about you, but 1,000 hurts my ear, so I do 400. Alright, so let's turn down the gain of the signal generator, because as you can see, that's really good. So we're at minus 50, minus 60, minus 70, minus 80, minus 90, minus 110. Oh no, this is 110, the other was 100. Minus 120. So we can still hear it at minus 110, which is telling us that's really, really good sensitivity. So let's play with the signal generator, see if we can make that change for the better or for the worse. So we're at 430. Go back to 430. Little improvement. Let me drop that down to negative 120. Okay, so we can hear it there at 435. And about 425. Alright, so at about 435 is where we can hear it better. Now if I do this, alright, so if I do that, we peak at that frequency right there. So, again, it comes back to 7 kilohertz off, just like our transmit. So, and that is where we were testing it at. Alright, so the last thing we want to do, let's go ahead and tear this apart, and let's look at it. Let's check out our guts. Let me not waste your time. I'll crack this open. We got 4 flathead screws that we need to pop out of the case, and I will come right back. Alright, I got the case unscrewed. One interesting thing about this case is I thought it would have 4 screws per corner, per side maybe, or just at least top or bottom, wherever. But they don't. They've got 2 screws caddy corner from each other on both top and bottom. You can see the other holes are the studs for the screws on the opposite side. So that's kind of interesting. Also, when I cracked this case apart, the mobile bracket slugs here moved. So, interesting note. Let's go ahead and take this off. This will be the first time in person for me taking this off. Like I said, did see the seller's pictures online. So right off the bat, we have a Taiwanese speaker, 0.5 watts at, looks like 8 ohms. And again, remember, this was a kit build radio. So we got our amplifier back here. Looks like it might be bolted up underneath here with our preamp and our amplifier sharing the same heat sink. Our push button switches. You know, I was thinking about this anti-repeater button. Back in the day, repeaters used tone bursts instead of PL tones. So I'm wondering if this was just a way to keep the repeater alive from dropping out on you. We'll have to research and see. So we've got 2 crystals here, 2 crystals there, IC chip, and another one down here. This one down here is a TC9122P, dated 1983. This one here is a MC3357P, dated 1980. We do have 2 more that I can't see underneath things. And so nothing sham wow about it. Let me go ahead and bump you in so you could take a peek your own self. Oh, real quick before I do that, the faceplate has got a copper backing to it. That's awesome. And so does the back. So definitely paid attention for good grounding. Let me bump you in now. This section here is the back of the board. I'll do this in stages. That way you can get in a little closer. I have no reason to believe that this was not a kit built. Then again, I don't have any reason to believe it was not a kit built. And here's the front half of the radio. You can see this section right here is the one that you definitely want to play with. Whenever they do that, you know, it just calls you. You have to play with that. It's mandatory. And here in this shot, I flipped the radio around, so we're going to go the other way. So you have an all-encompassing view. This here is the back half of the board. And here is the front half of the board. You can see we have an IC chip here, and then we got one up underneath there. The controls are really easy, so I'm here, it's here, you're here. The only, I think probably the only maintenance I'm going to do right now is let's go ahead and clean those controls. Unconnect from power. Oh, yeah, the other chip is there. All right. I'm not going to clean the controls. The controls are sealed. I don't see any porthole to get in there. I do see another crystal up underneath there, underneath the meter. That momentary repeater reset button is right here. Kind of hoping it would be marked on the board what it could have been, but it's not. Okay, so that will conclude this video. We're just going to take a look at it and do practically no maintenance, and that's exactly what we did. I think we gave it a good thorough look and workout. We confirmed that the radio does transmit. We confirmed the radio does modulate. We confirmed the radio receives. We confirmed that the volume control is scratchy and needs to be clean. That'll be another time. It might be a self-healing knob. The more I play with it, maybe it'll clean itself up. I've had that happen to me on numerous occasions. There was several radios that I wanted to look at on camera, but I got busy and excited and I started playing with it, and one thing led to another and they fixed themselves. So I thought, well, we try this one for sure on camera, and challenging as it was, we did. Challenging for me to hold off is where the challenge was. So I think the radio is a good viable candidate, and just need to get it back on transmit and receive. I think once that happens, everything's going to be ducky. The manual does tell you how to do that. So we may do that in a futuristic video, or I just may do it on my own. We'll see. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, definitely give me a big thumbs up. I would appreciate it. Share it with your friends. If you want to see more junk like this, well, hang around because you will. A mixed bag of stuff is what my channel is. Okay, with that said, we will conclude the video, and keep your eyeball out in case we do a part 2. Thanks for watching. Do appreciate it, and we will catch you in the next one. See ya.